So I've been hooked on racing games pretty much my entire life, basically ever since the original Gran Turismo came out. And I've been hooked on sim racing for the better part of the last 10 years. Now, throughout all of that, I always wanted to build an insanely immersive sim rig. The problem was, the technology either wasn't there, the funds weren't there, the knowledge wasn't there. There was a lot of things that kept me from doing this sooner. So, having cleared a few of those hurdles, a year and a half ago, I finally decided I was going to learn how to do what I needed to do to make it happen. And I got into 3D printing. I started learning how to 3D print, how to design, how to do the electrical work I was going to need to do to make my own parts, and also how to do vinyl work and some coding. While I'll admit I'm not necessarily great at it, I have had to learn some things to be able to make it happen, and I've had some help along the way. So now, having almost completed the Cup Car 2.0 rig, I thought I would share with you guys 5 skills that I've learned from building a sim rig that I can actually use in the real world. Now, the first skill I want to start with is the one I've used the most. It's not only helped me to remodel my home, it's also helped me get organized. It's helped me be able to just repair and fix things around the house. And in general, it just makes for me to be able to have anything that I need when I need it in exactly the way that I need it. And that's 3D printing. 3D printing in itself isn't all that hard to learn. It's as simple as understanding the software and knowing how to load filament and adjust details. Most of this you can learn by watching a few basic videos and incorporating some small adjustments. You're basically looking to achieve proper supports, quality of detail, and the correct density you need for reliable use. Once your slicer has the details, you send it over to the printer, and it does all the work of making what you need. Of course, there are going to be challenges, you will have fails, but that's where you go back and research, and you just try again. I would definitely say 3D printing's been the special ingredient behind my rig builds. The ability to be able to blend parts with what's on screen really removes the disconnect that happens when you get into a triple screen sim rig. It makes the cockpit feel real and immersive, but also delivers function. But beyond the rig, I was able to use 3D printing to build tools, jigs, levels, basically a lot of different things I needed to be able to work on my home. I've used it to repair expensive door frames, organize cords, provide mounts and storage, and even to adjust heights and add finishes. When you can 3D print, you find there's actually fewer limitations in life because you no longer have to hope that what you need already exists. That's assuming you could design your own parts, of course. But that's what we're going to talk about for number 2. So some of you guys have been asking me if I scan parts of the real race car to be able to design the parts for the rig. And that's a pretty big compliment for me because what I've actually done is used a VR headset to get inside the car and look around and photos online to basically design the entire rig from scratch. There wasn't really an option to grab parts that were already designed. I basically had to start from the ground up. So for people to think that it was actually scanned is pretty cool. And I've shared the process of designing the rig pretty extensively throughout the last year. Nothing on its exact. Some things are altered a bit to accommodate sim racing needs over the actual race car. And I really do feel accomplished with how it's come out so far. But design hasn't just helped me with the sim rig. It's been essential elsewhere too. As I kind of touched on with 3D printing, being able to design my own parts to print has helped massively for my wife and I as we've been working on remodeling our home. Now, to give you guys a little bit of context, when we bought the house, it was kind of a fixer-upper. It wasn't like condemned level, but it wasn't necessarily like comfortably livable either. So over the last year, we've been working through remodeling the house. We're about 11 months in so far. And we started at the bottom, we're making our way up top, and we really still have quite a bit of work to do up here. But downstairs is pretty much done. So anyways, when we got the house, the back door was missing an essential part of the frame right around the window on the outside that was allowing water to leak in. Basically, it looked like it had been chewed off by a dog or something. And we really do plan on replacing the door at some point anyways, so spending hundreds of dollars to repair it didn't really make a whole lot of sense. But for about $1 worth of PETG filament and a can of spray primer, I was able to create a replacement that barely stands out in the meantime. We've also used my designs to hide cords in the wall, mount ceiling speakers, and even as like a leveling system as we worked across the range doing our backsplash in the kitchen to make sure the tiles didn't slide out of place. I have quite a bit more planned as well, but the main goal is to get the actual remodel done first. So now, moving beyond 3D printing, one of the next big things that I've learned from sim racing over the years is just like being able to build my own electronics and stuff. I've been doing button boxes and lighting for quite a few years now, and that was something that I really dug into and learned how to do. But with Cup Car 2.0, I wanted to incorporate functional fans. I wanted to be able to do custom RGB lighting in different places on it. The drink system came up along the way, and that became another part of the electronics that had to be incorporated. Like all of these different components of it that I didn't necessarily know how to do. And now I feel pretty confident that if I were to want to design something electronic that served a function, I'd be able to do it. I mean, you guys challenged me to be able to make moving cables and nets throughout the process of this. That worked as well. It's not necessarily something I've implemented outside of sim racing yet, but it's something that I'm confident that I can. And it did in like doing some wiring and, plug moves and redoing some things within the house. It made me more confident to do those things. Basically, every part of this remodel, with the exception of installing the counters, has been stuff that my wife and I have done ourselves. So it's been kind of cool just to gain that confidence of being able to DIY and knowing that like this stuff is doable. You just have to learn the essentials to be able to do it. Now, the fourth thing on my list is probably the weakest point of the 5 things that I'm going to talk about. Like, it's the thing I struggle with the most. I have to rely on help from others. I need help from AI at times. And overall, just struggling to learn coding and software development is definitely like the biggest thing that I think will help in the long term, but that I'm still working to achieve. And basically, with all these Arduino boards, with everything that I've installed on the rig, with the software it requires to run it, like I've had to develop these things and know, not necessarily like be able to write the code from scratch, but know how to alter the code in order to get the desired result. And even though some of it hasn't necessarily been like the stuff that I've written from scratch, it still takes a lot of work just to figure out where the issues are and kind of resolve those. So that's been a big challenge. If you guys are getting into coding or trying to learn it, I can tell you AI is a huge help with that. It helped me write my software, and when I have issues with Arduino, it's able to help me there. This isn't even something where I would feel confident getting into tutorials on, because I'm just like, I don't have that programming knowledge behind me. And as I hopefully will gain more time in the future, this is where I really want to focus to be able to just have that know-how of like how I can impact different things through code. So this isn't an example of something I've learned to the level of anything else on the rig, but it is something that I think if you're getting into sim racing and you want to do some cool stuff on the side, this could be really helpful. Or for those of you that already know it, like, good on you, because it'll save you a ton of time and effort. So with 4 out of the way, that leaves one essential thing that I feel like I've learned from sim racing. And it's not something that I learned necessarily because of sim racing. I learned it because I wanted to make sim racing content. And over the last 4 or 5 years of building this channel and growing my content across social media, I've really focused on how to create more quality content, how to create and edit videos better. And it's not something that I think I necessarily succeed at every time. I think I have some videos that have come out really good, and I've had some that have come out really bad. This video alone has had several challenges with audio, I'm sure you guys have noticed, and part of that's because I'm having an issue with the sound mixer. Part of that's a little bit of inexperience because I had everything tuned right, and now I don't know what's creating the issue. So it's still a struggle, but having gotten to learn that, and because I create the content, I get to connect with you guys. I've been able to grow my social media following and interact and learn from everybody. And it's just been like, it's been a cool experience. It's been something that I really appreciate, that I think if I were to stop sim racing tomorrow, I would still want to create content. I would still want to make videos, and I would still want to find something I could do to share and like interact with the community that I enjoy being a part of. I will also say there have been some pretty big wins over the last year and a half or so with just being able to film inside the rig and how those videos have come out, and like the POV and the realism around it, and just getting the lighting right, getting the right camera, figuring out how to mount it properly and get that perfect angle. Like, to me, I think it looks great. It may not be perfect to everybody, but I'm really satisfied with the overall result. And that's ultimately that's what Cup Car 2.0 was all about. It was about making a super realistic and immersive sim rig that was not only realistic to me, but could create like cinematic racing content from inside the driver's seat. Now, having talked about Cup Car 2.0 and all the things that went into being able to make it, I've learned so much from it that I feel like the next build is going to be even crazier. And this might be the first full-length video I've done since making the announcement and you guys actually voting on the next build. So if you guys haven't heard, the next build is going to be the Porsche 963. I'm pretty excited about it. There's going to be a little mini build kind of like a mod series that I'm going to do with Cup Car 2.0 in between. And then early next year, I'm hoping to get started on the 963 build. I think the mod series and some of the things that are going to go on that are also going to be super exciting. So if you guys haven't hit that subscribe button, make sure you do. Also ring the bell and show the sponsors some love down in the description if you guys need anything for sim racing. They've been a huge help in making this happen. And I'm really hoping to further that relationship as we move into the next build. So until next time, I'll see you guys out on the track.